channel. My name is Anne, and this is All the Budgeting. And this is my first video here. I am going to start with debt confession, as well as just an introduction of myself and what you can expect to see here on this channel. So we'll just get right into it. So again, my name is Anne. I live outside of Chicago in the suburbs. I am what you would consider a high income earner. I do work for a very large consulting firm. I am a learning professional, so corporate learning, and I make in the low six figures, but I'm definitely proof that people who make a lot of money sometimes don't manage it very well and get themselves into debt. And so that is where I am. And so to start things off, I'm going to confess exactly how much debt I have and what my plan is to tackle that debt, because I am in my early 50s. And so I'm definitely at the stage of life where I should be thinking about retirement, but it is not a reality that exists for me right now because of the debt that I have. So I am definitely on a mission to course correct and make up for lost time and get into a better financial situation for myself. So that being said, I am going to list out the debts that I do have in low to high format. I'm going to leave out my mortgage for right now. I do live in a townhome condo type of situation, and but we're not going to include the mortgage in this debt confession at this time. So. But obviously there's that aspect of things. So my first debt that I'm going to tackle and pay down is my phone. So like a lot of people, I think my phone, I just kind of wrapped it into my overall monthly phone bill. But I would like to just go ahead and get that paid off so that my monthly bill comes down and that I don't have that debt over my head. So my phone. So currently I owe about $660 on the phone. I've been paying it for about a year now. And so, I have about $660 left. My payments are roughly $37 a month. Again, that just gets wrapped into my overall payment with my provider. The next debt that I'm going to list is my AC unit. So about a year and a half ago now, summer of 2020, I needed to replace the central air conditioning unit in my condo. It was the original unit. It was, 20 something years old, needed to be replaced. And because of something as I'll talk about in just a bit, my credit score at the time of, at the time of refinancing was pretty bad. And so the only financing available to me was a lease to own type of situation. And very grateful that I was able to get that financing and get the air conditioning unit because, I live in Chicago. It gets very hot here in the summer. I need it. I'm ending up paying a lot more than what the air conditioning unit was worth. Now this company that I got the financing through, they do have a program where if I pay it off within the first 2 years, I can deduct 40% off of the bill. And so that is definitely the goal, to pay this off early. And we'll talk about that more when I get into my plan of attacking this. So currently, what I owe right now on that AC unit is $10,219, and the monthly payment on that is $270. So hefty, and so obviously paying that off would free up a lot of money in my monthly budget that I can apply towards, the next debt. So that's definitely the goal. The third debt that I'm going to list here is my car. I do have a 2018 Honda CRV. I did buy it new. And so currently I owe $12,647 on that. And my monthly payment is $550. So I do want to, once I pay off these first two, then start tackling my car. The last debt that I'm going to list here, because it is kind of it encompasses several other debts into it, is bankruptcy. Yeah. So let me just pause here and tell a little bit of a story to hopefully help somebody who might be in a similar situation. So, as I mentioned, sometimes you make a lot of money, you don't manage it well, and I definitely was one of those people. I was. There's really no other way to put it. I was living beyond my means. I was spending more money than I should have. I was just charging and not really, I definitely wasn't, paying my cards off. I was viewing my credit line as available cash to me, not money that I had to pay back. I was making the minimum payments and all that kind of stuff, but it was just an endless circle, and so that's where I was. And so in November of 2019, I was just shy of six figures in credit card debt. And while I was current with everything, I was making all the minimum payments, I was current with my mortgage, I was current with my car loan, I was drowning, and I really didn't have anything left over after paying all those bills and then, the utilities and just your regular, living expenses. I didn't have anything left over. And so then when something would happen, I had to put it on a credit card again. So it was just this, I was never able to get ahead. And so I was on Credit Karma looking at options. I was looking at some options of personal loans to try and consolidate some of the debt together into a lower interest rate, a lower payment, just to get a little bit of breathing room. And, so I submitted some requests for information. One of the requests was answered not by a personal loan company, but by a debt settlement company. I'm not going to say the name of the company right now because I'm currently in negotiations with them. But this debt settlement company, said, we'll be able to settle your debt for significantly less than what you owe. In some cases, 50% of what you owe. You'll be able to be out of debt in 4 years. This will be your new monthly payment. Look at how much room you'll have in your budget to save and all of that. And, you need to do this. I ignored every warning signal that was going off in my gut, and I signed up with them. And I started sending them about $1,200 a month. They told me stop paying your credit cards because once they go into default, then we have an easier time negotiating with them. So I listened to them and I stopped doing that. And of course, then the late fees and the interest started accruing and the collection activities started happening and all of that. Fast forward to 2 years later, I have now paid them more than $28,000. Of the 7 cards that I enrolled, they settled 4, only 2 of which were for significantly less than what was owed. 2 of them actually settled for, they were at higher amounts than they were when I enrolled because of all the late fees and all of that. So really zero savings. And how they do it is they don't pay off the card. It's they pay payments out of your escrow account. What they don't really, it's buried in the massive amount of paperwork that you go through. You pay, and I was paying about $1,200 a month. What they don't really clarify is that they front load a ton of fees for work that they have not done. And that comes out of your escrow account before any money goes towards creditors. And so what ended up happening was I was served a summons. That was my second summons. The first summons they actually settled. And so that was like the fourth card that they settled for me. But then I was served a couple months later a summons for another card. And this was my highest balance card. It was like $27,000. And so, I did what I was supposed to do. I sent them the summons, and they assigned a lawyer. The lawyer, called me and said, okay, we've received a settlement offer. And he told me what it was. And I said, okay, do I have enough in my escrow account to pay that each month? And he said, no, it's going to require $900 more per month paying into it, which I did not have at the time. And I said, well, what happens if I can't do that? And he said, well, they'll file a judgment against you. They'll garnish your wages. They might put a lien against your house. And so, cue the panic. I saw no other option but to file bankruptcy. I didn't want to lose my house. And I still had a couple other cards looming out there, another one that was more than $20,000. So I was like, even if I could scrape together another $900 a month, what happens then if this one files suit and I don't have enough? So I contacted a bankruptcy attorney. I met with them. They, were great and laid out all my options, and Chapter 13 bankruptcy is what we went with. I filed in November of 2021. I am definitely not a bankruptcy expert, so keep that in mind. My only experience is my personal one. So I am in what is called a 100% repayment plan, which is what it sounds like. They're, all my creditors are going to get 100% of what they are owed. It's just there's no interest charged. And bankruptcy then provides the protection against, lawsuits and liens and all that kind of stuff. So it's a 5-year plan to pay that off. One of the benefits of a 100% repayment plan, at least in the state of Illinois, it might be different in other states. So again, not a bankruptcy expert. If that is something that you are considering, I would highly recommend meeting with a bankruptcy attorney in your area. Most of them do offer free consultations. I know mine did. So I just want to say that. So in my area, in my district of Illinois, if you are in a 100% repayment plan, any additional money, any raises, any bonuses, any tax refunds, things like that is yours to keep, because they're going to get all of their money, right? So there's really no need for extra money to go into the bankruptcy. If you are in less than a 100% repayment plan, then, any extra money typically does go to the bankruptcy. But, so that was actually one of the motivations for me to be in a 100% repayment. So that I didn't have to worry about any of that. And fortunately, I did get a raise at work in December, right after filing. That immediately gave me some relief. So I was already just in a better situation. So that being said, my total right now, I've made 3-4 payments at this point. So obviously, my overall balance has decreased from there. It was definitely over $100,000 when I filed. My current balance for my bankruptcy is $99,575, and my payment every month is $1,920. So that is a lot. That's a lot. Now, fortunately, I don't have student loan debt. I paid that off about 10 years ago. So I'm very, very happy about that. I know that that is something that is a problem for a lot of people. So, but I definitely made up for it with the credit card spending. So let's just total this up, shall we? So let's see, 660 plus 10,219 plus 12,647 plus 99,575. So that brings my total debt to $123,101. So, how am I going to tackle this? In October, I embraced a cash budgeting, sinking fund, cash envelope, zero-based budget approach. It was something that I'd been aware of for quite some time, but I was under the belief or, impression that I couldn't do that until I was fully out of debt. And then I realized the problem with that mindset was if I'm not saving for these different things that could happen, big and small, then I'm going to keep charging, right? And so I needed to change my mindset to, no, you need to be intentional about this. You need to save towards whatever it is that you are wanting or needing. And when you have saved that amount of money, then you can get it. So that I just kind of changed that approach. And so I am, putting the money towards my regular bills, my mortgage, my utilities, my these payments. That comes out of my checking account. And then everything extra, I pull out in cash and I put into these different cash envelopes. And then, the idea is once they build up, I will put some of the money into the bank and etc. So I have started with that approach in October, and it's really working for me. That physical money in my hands in these envelopes is motivating me to continue to let them grow and to not spend out of them and to, try and put more money towards them each month outside of what is budgeted to be put towards them. So, I enjoy when I have rollover money each month, each paycheck that I can add to my sinking funds. So it's definitely changing my approach and belief into money. So I'm following that approach. Now I mentioned when I was talking about the debt settlement company that I'm currently in negotiations with them. So I mentioned I paid them $28,000. They front loaded a ton of fees that for work that they did not do. When I canceled, after I filed, I canceled and I said, okay, how about, I'm going to get a refund, right? And they said, well, you'll get a refund of what is currently in your escrow account, which was about $2,700. And I'm like, but I paid you $28,000 and we definitely didn't pay that towards creditors. So what happens with all that? And they're like, well, those are fees and, those don't get refunded. And I was like, well, we'll see about that. So I wanted to get everything settled with my bankruptcy first and make sure that got confirmed and that was kind of locked in. And then it was all about, okay, now we're going after these folks. Because after filing, I discovered that there is a law in the state of Illinois to protect people like me and to protect people from these predatory debt settlement companies that do this, where they front load these fees and they tell you to stop paying and they basically put you into a worse situation. And I don't think it is a coincidence that they front load their fees to be paid in the first 2 years, because it was right around the 2-year mark that I started getting lawsuits. And now we don't have enough money to pay these, so you have to pay more. I don't think that's a coincidence. So I found a really helpful blog site that kind of detailed steps to take if you are in my kind of a situation and you need to get a refund. And so I just follow those steps. And so it started with, I wrote them a letter and I sent it certified mail so that there was proof of receipt, basically detailing how much of what I paid was valid and how much of a refund I was requesting, and my rationale behind that. And the refund that I was asking for is $14,735. So I sent that, and they received it early January. And I told them that if I, did not receive a refund within 30 days, that I would start filing complaints. And I listed multiple places that I would be filing complaints. Of course, might not be a shock, I did not hear from them. And so, following this blog's advice, I did what I said I would do. I started filing complaints. So the first thing I did actually was I reached out to a law firm that focuses on consumer law. They asked me to send them a copy of the contract that I signed and the letter that I sent them. I did that. And they declined my case. And I'm sure they felt that I didn't have a case. And I'm very glad that I didn't give up. Because from there, I filed complaints with the places that I said I would. I filed a complaint with the Attorney General, with the FTC, because this originated on the internet, and with another agency that I'm blanking on. I also filed with the Better Business Bureau, where they had their accreditation revoked because of so many negative complaints very similar to mine. And so I filed a complaint with them. I also gave a 1-star review on Google and Trustpilot. I also reached out to some personal contacts that I have with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. They're based in Chicago. Chicago is in Cook County. I have a friend that is an attorney with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, so I reached out to her. I also have a very good friend that is, she works for the ABC local affiliate in the news. And she forwarded my story on to producers, and still waiting to see if they want to do a story on that. So I did all of this. The Better Business Bureau forwarded the complaint to them, which is what they do. Literally the next day, I get an email from somebody in the customer service area, and they would like to set up a call with me to, get to a resolution on this. And they sent me their calendar. Please choose an available time. And so cool. So I actually just had this conversation with them. It started on Monday of this week. It's currently Friday, March 4th. So Monday, I spoke with a representative there, and he had the Better Business Bureau complaint, but he also just wanted to get some additional information from me, and I gave it to him. And and he acknowledged that there were definitely things that were missed. He said typically when somebody cancels before their program has ended, that there is a review, and that there is a refund given of any unused fees, which I don't really believe that happens until people do what I did, but whatever. So he acknowledged that things were missed, and he said that management was currently reviewing my case, and that he felt confident that we would be able to get to this number or very close, and he would get back in touch the next day. So we spoke again on Tuesday, and he said that they are able to refund me this full amount, which is amazing. Amazing. I will believe it when I see it. Still haven't gotten the refund. And in fact, I'm still waiting for an agreement that I'm supposed to sign. And I don't know what the holdup is. I talked to this person again yesterday. He doesn't know where it is, but so we shall see. I will call again on Monday if I have not received it, which it's, already past 5 on Friday. I don't think I will. But so, I want to believe I'm getting it. I really do. This obviously would be huge. But I don't know. So, but this amount is very large, and my lawyer was definitely aware that I was pursuing this refund, and he actually added it to the petition. And so I reached out to say, that they're saying I'm going to get this full amount. I told him there was no legal action taken. I did not engage a lawyer. This is truly a refund. Is this something that we need to clear with the trustee? And he said, yes, don't spend it. Let me confirm with the trustee. Now, I really am hoping very much that because I'm in 100% plan, because this is money simply being refunded to me, that it can be treated like, the raise, the bonuses, the tax refunds, all of which I'm told I get to keep. Because this money would go a long way into paying off some of this debt, as well as building some significant savings. So I am going to think positively and assume that I'm going to get this money. And when I do, definitely my phone will be paid off, my AC unit will be paid off. I will also, before I start tackling my car, I have I have a vacation planned with my family that I want to, put some money aside for. My cat needs a dental cleaning, so let's go ahead and get that taken care of. I have some things that I haven't spent any money on myself in a long time, so I kind of want and need some things. And I also want to bulk up some of my priority sinking funds, things like my health sinking fund, my pet care, my car maintenance, my home maintenance, because those are the things that if something is going to go wrong, it's going to be expensive. So I'd like to have, a nice chunk of change in the bank. So that is my plan for this. If and when I do get this refund, I will film a video detailing where all that money is going. The other thing that just happened actually is, so I mentioned I got a raise in December, which immediately gave relief, and that was great. I also just got a promotion, and I just got another really nice bump in my salary. It is actually going to be, I'm still a little bit in shock. I literally just found this out today, the number. It is going to be an additional $1,000 a month take home. And so that money is pretty much all going to go to debt. So that I will hopefully, my goal with the bankruptcy, so it's a 5-year plan to pay off the bankruptcy. I would like to pay it off in 3 years. That is my goal. Now it will stay on my credit for those 5 years, or for 7 years, pardon me, after filing. But, I won't have to pay the 1920, and I can immediately start rebuilding my credit score. So that is the hope, that I can pay this bankruptcy off in 3 years. That's the goal. So that is my confession. What I'd like to do now is actually go through my net worth calculation. Okay, sorry about that little bit of a jump. My camera actually ran out of battery, so I had to charge really quick, and now here I am to finish out the video. So from here, I'd like to go into my net worth calculation. So this is something that I'm going to be doing at the end of each month. So this is as of the end of February. I calculated my net worth for the first time at the end of 2021, and not surprisingly, it was actually in the negative. It was like negative, I don't know, like 1,700 or something like that, because primarily because of the bankruptcy. So, but you can see that in January it actually jumped up, and that is because one of the creditors that was included in the bankruptcy did not file a claim with Chapter 13 bankruptcy. I don't know how it works with Chapter 7, but with Chapter 13 bankruptcy, any of the creditors that you are going to be paying back, they need to file a claim within a specific period of time. In Illinois, anyway, it is 70 days. And if they don't file a claim, they don't get paid. And so one of my creditors did not file a claim. And so they won't be getting paid, so their balance came out of the total. And so that is largely why my net worth did jump up in at the end of January. So now I'm calculating it for the end of February. And this sheet is part of a budget planner that I have designed and that I'm still working with. But ultimately, I do plan to have it for sale in my Etsy shop. I do also have the bulk of what's going to be in my Etsy shop, which I have linked below, is printable cash envelopes and the trackers that go into the cash envelopes and cash breakdown. And you'll see me use these envelopes in my cash stuffing videos each month. So that is the bulk of what's going to be in that shop. And I have a few things already up, so you can check that out if that's something that interests you. But I do plan on eventually getting this budget planner added, and I will have it available in a printable format as well as a digital for people that like the digital planning. So anyway, I'm just still kind of playing with it and making sure that it kind of works. So my net worth, I'm basically going to track my assets and my liabilities, and you subtract the liabilities from the assets, and that's your net worth. So my cash envelopes / savings at the end of February, I have a total of $2,963, which, again, I just started this approach in October. I actually had to basically clean out my envelopes to pay the lawyer fee to file bankruptcy. So basically started over at the end of November. And the fact that I'm already here, like, this to me is proof that this method of budgeting works for me. I never would have saved this much money otherwise. Can tell you that. Never. My house. So this is an estimate. This is based on looking at real estate listings in my area and just kind of a best guesstimate. So I am estimating that my home is worth about $190,000 right now. My car, based on Kelley Blue Book, is worth about $25,968. I do work from home, so I don't drive all that much. And as I mentioned, my car is a 2018, and I have less than 25,000 miles on it. So that is a factor as to why the value of this car is so high. Plus, I think cars with some sort of chip right now is worth more. I don't know. But anyway, that is what Kelley Blue Book is saying that my car is worth currently. And then my 401k is currently worth $48,440. That is nowhere near where I need to be at the age of 52. So if anybody, is watching this that is, in your 20s, 30s, PSA, contribute to your 401k. Now, don't wait. I waited way too long. Okay, so those are my assets. And so let me total those up really quickly. Plus 190. So my total assets are $267,371. Now for my liabilities. So again, my bankruptcy balance right now is $99,575. I owe $10,219 on my AC unit. For my mortgage, I currently owe $132,998. For my car loan, I currently owe $12,647. And for my phone, I owe about $660. So let's add those up. So my total liabilities is $256,099. So I'm going to take 267,371 minus 256,099. And so that gives me a net worth right now as of the end of February of $11,272, which is a change. So if I subtract 7,441 from 11,272, it's a change of $4,231, which then to calculate the percentage change, I'm going to take that change amount and divide it by the last month's total. So 4231 divided by 7,041 is a 60% change in net worth. Holy moly. Now, I am expecting my net worth to kind of steadily go up because all of these amounts are going to come down. And at least some of these amounts are going to go up. Now, my car value will likely go down. My house has been pretty consistent, so I'm expecting that to stay around that amount. Hopefully my envelopes go up. Hopefully my 401k goes up. So, but all of these will always come down. And I'm hoping, if I get this refund, that the AC unit and the phone are coming off completely. And so then, I should see a nice big jump. So I'm really, really happy with that change in my net worth. And that is something that I will do every month. Okay, so next and kind of final, I just want to go through my budget for March. It's currently March 4th. And so I'm going to be going through my monthly budget. I'm not sure that I'm going to do a separate budget with me, only because my budget doesn't change really. I am paid salary, so I get paid the same amount twice a month. And I have, set bills that come out of each paycheck. And so what will really change will be how much I can put into the various funds. So my plan is to do 2 paycheck stuffings every month, a side hustle stuffing. I do have a couple of side hustles, and I'm building an Etsy shop, and hopefully this YouTube channel will ultimately get monetized and all of that. So I'll do a side hustle, cash stuffing. Right now I'm only planning to do one per year, or not one per year, one per month. But we'll see, if my side hustles grow so much that I need to break it down more, awesome. And then, so that's 3 videos, and then I'll do cash condensing videos when I need to, and then I'll do a monthly closeout. Now, I might add as part of that monthly closeout a look at the budget for the month ahead. I'm not sure. I just don't know that there's enough to do a separate video each month for a budget with me, because it's just not that exciting. But we'll just go over March's budget. So I get paid twice a month. And so my first paycheck, I am expecting to get $3,455. My second paycheck, I am expecting it to be bigger because I did just get, I mentioned this earlier, I just got a promotion and a raise, and it will be effective with the next paycheck. So based on my calculations of what my new salary is, I'm expecting that paycheck to be around $3,972. So, about, a little more than $500 more, which is amazing. And then here are 2 of my existing side hustles. I do not plan for those. I only plan and budget with my full-time income. Everything else is extra. Okay. But I will track the actual. So for my budgeted income, it's at $7,427 for the month of March. And as I mentioned, I have set bills that come out of each paycheck. Now, in the paycheck budget videos, you will see a breakdown of those bills. But so the total bills that come out of the first paycheck, it's a total of about $2,724. Out of the second paycheck, about $2,551. I do have some bills that, for my business, they get paid out of my side hustle income. So again, I do not budget for them, but I will track the actual. So my total bills for the month of March, I'm planning for $5,275, which leaves me $2,152 left to budget. And so then we'll go to this second page here. And so this left-hand column, I have a title, Spending Revolving Funds. This I really view as like my fixed amount funds, whereas all of these are variable amount. It depends on what's left over, and they get a percentage of that. So that's kind of how I view that. So for groceries, I budget $150 a week, and I get 4 weeks out of each month's paycheck. Now I do have a plan for those months where it's there's like an extra week kind of thrown in there, but so I budget for $600 a month for groceries. I budget $100 for spending, and spending covers everything else, like if I eat out, if I grab a coffee, whatever, if I'm out and I want to buy something small, that comes out of that $100. I do not track the actuals of these things. Instead, I put anything that I don't spend into rollover, and that will get added to the next paycheck for going into my sinking funds. So I don't track actuals. So $100 a week, so $400 a month. My hair. So I do have a standing appointment twice every 3 weeks to get my hair colored, because I am 100% gray and I'm not ready to embrace that gray lifestyle. And so I budget $100 a paycheck. Now, sometimes depending on where the paycheck and my next appointment falls, sometimes I don't always need that $100 because I'll, have another paycheck before I need it. But I always budget for it and then, determine when the paycheck actually happens if I need it. So $200 for hair a month. And then I always budget $50 out of each paycheck to go into my emergency fund. So that's $100 a month. And again, I have some business fixed amounts here that I, again, don't budget for, but I will track actuals. So my fixed amounts total about $1,300 for the month of March, which means I have about $852 left to spread over my sinking funds. And what I've done is I have, calculated a percentage. I've allocated a percentage to each of these funds based on their priority in my life. And, I just calculate the percentage of whatever is left to budget, and I spread it over these sinking funds. Now, the goal always is to put more into these funds than what I have planned for, and that is where that rollover comes into play and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my budget in a nutshell. So you can see, not too exciting, which is why I don't think it's going to be a separate video each month. I probably will just add it to my monthly closeout, looking at the budget for the month ahead. So that is it for me. I hope you'll join me here. Part of the reason why I started this channel was to document my journey, kind of recovering from bankruptcy and rebuilding my life and my credit, and gaining financial freedom and all of those good things, as well as hopefully help others that might be in a similar situation. It might help to see somebody go through it who is, I definitely feel like, as unfortunate of a situation it was to have to file bankruptcy, strangely, it seems to have been a catalyst for a real turnaround in my financial situation. That is how I'm actually choosing to look at it. So, so I'm hoping that maybe that is helpful to others out there that might be going through the same situation. So, if that's something that you want to join me on, I hope that you'll subscribe and, click that bell to get notified. I do plan to post one video per week. And so you'll see me next week with my first paycheck cash stuffing video for the first paycheck in March. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you later. Bye.